There is a piece that appeared at Breitbart.com that we really have to talk about now. It is the fact that President Obama and his administration spent $100 million of taxpayer money to transport foreign migrants to their destination. 25% was spent on hotel rooms for illegals, 58% spent on plane tickets. You know, Michael, if that money was going to send those folks back home, I might want to see a little bit of it done that way. But how much money would we be saving if we didn't have this administration just working overtime to bring in non-citizens and fast-track them now under the designation of political refugees from Central America?
Well, you know, I guess that Obama's idea of getting rid of the alien smugglers is to do their work for them. What do you think of that, J.D.? Look, this is crazy. And, you know, there was a hearing held by the House Immigration Subcommittee, chaired by Trey Gowdy, this past April, where a Maryland sheriff, again, we have 50 border states, talked about how since 2013, over 60%, over 60% of the time when his deputies were called to schools, whether they were public schools, intermediate, or high schools, because of acts of violence committed by students, the students involved had come across that border from Central America during the surges that you're talking about. We are importing crime and a nightmare for our school administrators, teachers, and frankly, our kids to have to contend with that emanates from that lack of border security.
Just imagine if that $100 million was a down payment on the necessary infrastructure like the wall. And Michael, it's worth noting that we have existing law that if people wanted to come in and play by the rules, they would have to be sponsored by others here who would be financially responsible for them. That's gone out the window in this rush to bring people into our country who are non-citizens.
Well, that's out the window, and the fact that they're not being screened. You know, for all that we've heard, and we should hear about the lack of screening of the refugees, what's the screening process for people who run our borders? They have no documentation. We don't know their true names. We don't know their backgrounds. We don't know their affiliations with gangs or maybe even terrorist organizations. We don't know if they're fugitives from justice. And by the way, and you know, I just wrote about this for Front Page, you have Napolitano, the former head of Homeland Security, declaring her campus a sanctuary.
Bingo. As a matter of fact, let us take a look at that. And I got to tell you what, I did a lot of battling when Janet Napolitano, back when I was serving as a Republican in the U.S. House of Representatives, representing Arizona, and she was down on the 9th floor as a Democrat governor. She has been patently open borders, and now in her role running the University of California system of constituent campuses, she showed up on CNN the other day bad-mouthing President-elect Trump's plan for a wall. Let's watch and listen.
I know that southwest border like the back of my hand, and when you go down there, you realize that a wall is not a solution to illegal immigration.
Why not? Why, if you build a big wall, how can people get around it?
As I like to say, show me a 10-foot wall, I'll show you a 12-foot ladder. People go over, people go under. That's not the point. The point is to have layers of security. Part of it's fencing, part of it's wall. Part of it is better ports of entry for legal migration and trade, air cover, checkpoints on the roads that come into the country from the border. All those things that have been in place are being put in place now so that we actually have net negative migration actually from the South into the United States.
Now, I just want to translate that for everybody watching from Napolitanoese. What Jano is saying right there is, I'm just going to offer a bunch of stupid malarkey about 10-foot wall, 12-foot ladder. The bottom line is we want these people to come in. We want them to game the system because they'll register as Democrats and do to the rest of the country what they've done to the state of California. Michael, is there anything wrong with that translation?
Plenty, but what we really do need is interior enforcement, and that's what's been lacking from administration after administration. Not just to arrest illegal aliens, but to go after the fraud that's rampant throughout the immigration benefits program. And you know, the 9/11 Commission found immigration fraud had a clear nexus to terrorism and the ability of terrorists to enter the country and embed themselves. We need to build up the immigration enforcement infrastructure to create deterrence through enforcement. And when Napolitano talks about protecting illegal aliens from the people who used to work under her command, here's the bottom line, though. There's a solution. They need, this administration coming in, the Trump administration needs to take from those universities that declare themselves sanctuaries the authority to issue that Form I-20 that the alien student needs to get the student visa. Any school that declares itself a safe place from immigration needs to lose the authority to bring foreign students to the campus. In the case of Napolitano School, University of California, they claim 6% of their students are foreign. Guess what? They need to lose all 6% until they decide.
Yeah, you know what? They need to lose more than that, Michael. They need to lose every bit of federal dough that is going to those constituent campuses of the University of California. Hey, before we go, something else that townhall.com wrote about, the Obama administration says requiring employees in the United States to speak English is discriminatory. New rules have been put out by this administration. It's wrong to ask your employees to speak English, but it's okay that you require your workers to speak a foreign language. I got a term for this, Michael. It's bass-ackward. You got the final 30 seconds.
Sure. By the way, Napolitano said enforcing immigration laws was discriminatory as well. A common language is the mortar that holds a society together. My mom came here from Poland ahead of the Holocaust. Her first order of business was learn English, the same for my dad's parents when they came from Russia. A language unifies a country. They have turned this country into a Tower of Babel. I hope that the Trump administration reverses that trend and gets Americans united for what's best for all Americans, irrespective of race, religion, and ethnicity. And by the way, JD, I wish you and everybody Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and a happy, healthy New Year.
Great way to end it, but we've got some real challenges ahead. Michael Cutler, we thank you for your time. Up next, Today in History. Stay with us.